If you've been running your online business on ChatGPT and lately it just feels a little flat, like generic, and no matter how hard you try, your content sounds like everyone else's AI content, you're not imagining things. I've been using AI tools before ChatGPT came out with tools like Jasper and things like that. And over the last few years, of course, chat has made my life so much easier. We've been using it for emails, launch copy, YouTube scripts, podcasting, all the things. And while I loved ChatGPT, recently I've noticed it's just not cutting it. The last thing I want is my content to sound like an AI bot. I want my content to be me, but I want to use AI tools to help me work more efficiently and help put all of my ideas into a good flow that is easy for people to consume. Well, others kept telling me Claude writes better, Claude writes blogs better, Claude writes emails better. And I thought the last thing I want to do is take my entire business and brain from ChatGPT, which I have trained so well, and move it into a new tool. But I thought I've got to give it a try. I got to give it a fair chance. And so in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to get started, how I got up and running on Claude very quickly, and the difference that it's made so that you can decide for yourself if it's worth the switch. If you're a course creator, coach, or digital entrepreneur, stick around because this is absolutely going to change the way you work. If you're new here, I'm Lydia Martin, and I help course creators and coaches create cohort experiences that sell and transform. And using AI is a big piece of what I teach and what I use each and every day in my business. If you're looking for the exact strategies of how I implement AI into my business, be sure to join my upcoming free workshop, Beyond Courses. The link is below this video. Let's get into it. Let me start off by saying ChatGPT is a great tool, and I'm not throwing it into the trash. One of the things I absolutely love about ChatGPT are the custom GPTs that you can create and share with those in your programs. Being able to create custom GPTs has allowed my students and my clients implement all of the things that I teach so much faster and more efficiently. And for that reason, as a GPT builder, I will continue paying for ChatGPT. Now, if you don't create custom GPTs, but you utilize them, you can use GPTs on the free plan of chat. So that's just something that's nice to know in case you decide you do want to move to Claude after this video. You could potentially just start paying for Claude and use the free version of chat if you're utilizing custom GPTs. But if you do want to create GPTs, you're going to need to pay for both. So the very first problem I've been having with ChatGPT recently is definitely the generic wall, meaning no matter how many times I tell it, don't do this, make sure you do this, here's more about me, here's my audience, I still feel like chat's been giving me the most generic responses recently. And I didn't used to feel that way. So I don't know what's changed. I don't know if it's the new version, but it definitely got me on the Claude train because if it's not going to produce what I feel is quality and correct voice from me and not just an AI bot, I'm not going to use it. And Claude has made a massive difference for me in this area. I'm going to show you the difference between a blog post that I wrote with ChatGPT and a blog post that I wrote with Claude. So my second issue has really just been that I've had to continually train it to improve the outputs. I teach my students how to create projects, how to train their projects, how to use knowledge-based documents like documents about your audience and your genius zone and your frameworks and your programs and how to create these very key inputs which are supposed to improve the outputs AI gives you. And I've noticed that ChatGPT just seems to like forget. All of a sudden it has no memory of something you've been training and talking about for a long time. And I don't know if that's a glitch, an error, but I don't know about you. I just don't have time for that. So Claude, I've noticed, seems to maintain the memory of everything I'm telling it. It's referencing the different conversations inside the projects so much more efficiently. And it just seems to know me so much better. And I've only been using Claude for like 2 weeks. So considering I've been using chat for years, obviously, Claude's the clear winner here. The third reason I decided to switch is there's a feature in Claude that is not inside ChatGPT, and that is it asks me questions. So many times I was using ChatGPT and I would tell it what I want and it would just kick out that here's what you want to know answer. But Claude works a little differently. Claude will say, well, tell me about the goal of this. So if I'm asking it to write an email, it'll say, is the goal nurturing your audience? Is the goal to send them directly to your sales page? Is the goal to invite them to your free workshop? It's like a human assistant wanting more clarification on exactly what my goals are. So it gives me the best response. And I love that about Claude. So you simply click the option that best fits your goal. And now the output is exactly what you were looking for. Here's why I've really committed to Claude. Now that I have these beautifully trained projects inside Claude, it actually gives me outputs in a format that works so much better. For some reason, when I was in ChatGPT, it would just give me something I can copy and paste, or it would give me the option to open a Word doc, but I'm not a Word doc user. I'm a Google Doc user. And so one of the things I love about Claude is it literally gives me a button on its outputs where I can click and it will open up the beautifully formatted document inside Google. This makes it so easy to create PDFs, guides, spreadsheets, and more for my students inside my courses and my membership. This handy little button has saved me so much time. No more copying and pasting into my own Google Docs. No more having to format my guides and outlines that I use in my courses and my membership. I simply move it to the folder where I want it to go in Google and it's instantly saved. So much less copying and pasting inside Claude. These outputs just look better out of the gate, which means less time for me and more of my time going to more important tasks. So let me go ahead and show you how easy it is to get started with Claude and how to train Claude's memory and your Claude projects so that it's ready to go with you and your business. So here's how easy it is to get started with Claude. You're going to go to claude.ai. And if you go to the pricings page, you'll see that they do have a free version if you want to give it a try. But if you're using Claude for your business, you're definitely going to want to upgrade to this pro version. The pro version is the only one that allows projects. And in my opinion, projects are an absolute must have for business owners. It is going to make your life so much easier when you can train projects for specific tasks and categories of your business. I have one for my podcast, Your Online Business Mentor. I have one for my Cohort Impact Accelerator program. I have a project for my Ignite membership. And each and every one of these projects are very well trained in exactly what I will need for those specific areas of my business. You can get started by paying $20 a month, or I just did the annual, which saves you a little bit. It ended up being $200 for the year. I do also recommend going to claude.com/download to download the application to your computer. So they have one for Mac, for Windows. There are certain features that are only available on the application version. And while you can absolutely access Claude from your browser at any time, I access Claude every day from my toolbar. Now, once you're logged in, Claude has made it extremely easy to bring your memory from ChatGPT over into Claude. All you're going to do is click on your avatar bottom left-hand corner, go to settings, and then click on capabilities. Right here is an actual prompt that they're going to give you to bring your memories over. So right here, where it says import memory from other AI providers, you're going to click on start import and it gives you a prompt to copy and paste into ChatGPT. So you're just going to copy this and you're going to head over to ChatGPT and I'm simply going to paste that prompt. Click generate and give ChatGPT a minute. So it's going to grab all of the key things from your memory so that you can easily copy and paste them into Claude. So this is a really, really easy way to get some of the basics into your Claude memory. Now, a couple things to know. I did not just take this entire thing and copy it into Claude because I knew right away that some of these things were no longer correct or they were actually things that I had done with clients. But this was at least a place to get me started. Now, what I did is I hit copy, put it in a Google Doc, and I did actually make some key changes to the information before pasting it into Claude. So again, if there's anything irrelevant, I would remove it. If there's anything that's incorrect, I would change it. And then you're going to paste it right here into Claude's memory. Once you've done that, it now has that memory saved. And that is really the initial first step. Now, there is a way to export all of your chat conversations from ChatGPT into Claude. I'm going to show you how to do that, but I do want to mention here that you may not want to do this step. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of old information in ChatGPT that I didn't really want to bring over, but I went ahead and did this step just to see how it would do. And I want to show you what I did and the changes that I made. So if you go into your settings in ChatGPT, right here under data controls, there is an export data option. You're going to click export, and then it's going to say that your download link will expire. What it really doesn't tell you is how long it will take to receive this link. Trust me, it takes about 24 hours. And then once you get that email, you only have 24 hours from that point to download the export. So just click here to get it started, and then eventually you will get a link sent to you. Now, when you click to download the file, it's going to look something like this, something with a lot of letters and numbers, and it's a zip file. Now, when you open up that zip file, that brings you to where your chat conversations are located. So now I've opened the zip file and you're going to see a ton of different files in here, but this is the one you're looking for, the chat.html. That's the one you're going to bring into Claude Cowork. So here's the prompt I used to bring that file into Claude. I said, read the entire file and generate your cognitive blueprint. This is the blueprint that you can review and analyze to make sure Claude has all of the current information about you. What I love about it is that you can upload into any Claude project or any AI project for that matter, where you can quickly train that AI tool to know everything it needs to know about you, your audience, your offers, your goals, your business. Once you've added that prompt, you're going to hit the plus sign and you're going to go ahead and find that file. So again, it's the chat.html file. You would open it and then hit let's go. That is what will start the process of your cognitive blueprint. I went ahead and copied my entire conversation with Claude in this process just to kind of show you what it looks like and how it worked. It opened it up in a new window, and you'll see it brought over 11,000 conversations from ChatGPT. And it ended by saying, let me know if you want to adjust anything or go deeper. And so as I was reading the blueprint, I updated it with the new information. So I recently rebranded my business, I rebranded my podcast, I added new links. I was basically telling it everything it needed to know that was current information. And so it went off and started thinking. It actually used some of the links I gave it to learn even more about me, my website, my podcast page, and said, now I have a comprehensive picture. Let me rebuild the blueprint. So I basically went through this process to make sure the blueprint was accurate. And then here's what it changed in the rebuilt version. Now, at the time, I was brand new to Claude, so I did ask it a question, which is, if I'm saving this cognitive blueprint to the memory of Claude, does it mean I also need to add that information into each individual project? And basically, the suggestion was yes, you still want to go ahead and do that. It did give me a kind of short version that I could paste into my projects, but honestly, I just think my cognitive blueprint was so good that I just take that doc and I upload it into all of my Claude projects. Now, even if you don't bring everything over or something doesn't work when you try to use Cowork, it's okay. You can create your cognitive blueprint simply by pasting this prompt into any of your ChatGPT projects. It's going to create the exact information that you need to train your new projects inside Claude. I'll put this prompt below this video so that you can simply do this. And as soon as you've copied this into chat, you'll have exactly what you need to add to your memory inside Claude. You can upload it as a file or you can add it to the memory and you can give additional instructions. So let me give you an example of the differences in outputs that ChatGPT and Claude have given me recently. So this was a blog post that I did for a recent podcast. And if you go to launchwithlydia.com/blog, you'll see on March 2nd, I did a what 21 days of consistency did for my business. And I haven't been asking chat to do a lot. My podcast is definitely the main piece of content here. And I allow listeners to listen right here on my website, or they can click on their favorite podcast app. But I do want a blog that is going to help with SEO search. I want this for people who would rather read than listen. And so this is an example of a blog that ChatGPT generated for me. It's not bad, but I can very easily see where it is AI focused, meaning these 3-word sentences is definitely a telltale sign that this was generated from ChatGPT. I am not a fan of a bunch of staccato type sentences. And so a lot of times I take the time to go in and fix that. And that's just more time on my end. And so what I love about Claude is that it actually did what I want right out of the gate. So let me go ahead and show you the blog I recently generated with Claude. So this is another podcast episode. Again, same thing, they can listen. But if you scroll down, you're going to notice it's written so differently. I absolutely love that this reads more like a blog written by a human. It's more in paragraph form. It's not a bunch of 3-word sentences. This is so much more like I would write. And I maybe had to give it 1 or 2 steps or instructions, and it built it in the exact format that I wanted. The difference between this blog and the one before it was one of the key reasons why I decided to go all in with Claude. So, one of the things that I loved is Claude also included this frequently asked questions. And I believe the reason is because I asked Claude to be sure to include anything in this blog that would help with SEO, AI search, or podcast search. And so it came up with this, and I thought it was absolutely perfect. I love that it answered these questions. I think it's just going to make it so much more enjoyable to read by my audience. So that example alone got me so excited about switching to Claude. But the other thing I totally love is this button right here, and that is the open and dry button. So yes, I can download this as a Word doc, but I don't need to. I can literally click here. It not only opens my guide in Google Drive, but it formats it in a way that looks amazing. So this is one of the lessons inside my cohort Impact Accelerator program. Just the fact that it's added color and it has added these amazing like boxes so that things stand out. It highlights the prompts that we give them. It gives it a banner. It even put my copyright at the bottom for me. Like this feature alone is a massive improvement over ChatGPT at this time. I did mention this earlier, but I have not thrown away ChatGPT. I absolutely still use it for custom GPTs, but for content creation, blogs, my podcasts, YouTube videos, emails, I have most definitely moved to Claude. It's amazing for course creators, coaches, membership owners, anyone creating content for students and their members. It has just allowed me to move so much faster, but in a way that sounds more like me. And that's what I love. The last thing you want is to sound like every other AI generated piece of content out there. And you certainly don't want to have to re explain yourself every time you're using your AI tool. So I hope these tips have been helpful. I hope that it allows you to make the switch easily, or it at least helped you decide if moving to Claude is right for you. If you'd like more tips for creating courses, programs, and memberships that convert and transform, then keep following me, subscribe to this channel, and visit us at launchwithlydia.com.